Hi guys. I know I'm late. It was raining on my side of town while I was driving, and so I do not do these while it's raining. I know I have, but I try not to, merely because one time I did it, somebody hit me, and so yeah, so I'm not going to do these while it's raining at all. So I really need to focus on the road when it's raining. So I'm a bit late, so I made it to work a bit early, so that's why I was able to hop on. So, and I did want to do this. So it didn't rain the whole way, but once it started raining, it was wet. I'm not going to do it. So here I am. A bit late, but I'm here. So, for those of you who are catching me for the first time, my name is Lydia O'Boyd, and I'm a lactation specialist based here in Los Angeles, and I provide lactation support to breastfeeding and expectant parents. I journey with families as they're returning back to work and school after their maternity leave, and I support parents and families as they are ending their breastfeeding relationship, whether it's through weaning or in the event of a loss. You can find me all over social media at Lydia O'Boyd CLE. You can email me, lydia@lydiaoboyd.com, and you can find my website at bit.ly/Lydia's resources. There you will find information about me, a list of resources, my recommended reading, and my services and pricings, and the ability to schedule your time with me. Okay, so my time comes in in-person and virtual connections. In-person is whether it's a one-on-one connection, groups, classes, presentations, and things like that. My virtual support is either telephone calls, teleconferences, those are group calls, webinars, support groups and classes, presentations, and the like. Okay, so what am I going to talk about today? And I gotta find something that's going to watch my time. So I promised you guys that I would come back today and give you a few points on how to support dads in the event of a preemie, because yesterday I talked about how to make sure that your breastfeeding relationship, you advocate for your breastfeeding relationship if in the event that you have a preemie. Okay, so quickly, just to review, I want you guys to look at your breastfeeding, which most likely will be pumping for a large portion, and remember, pumping is breastfeeding. That I want you guys to look at that as breastfeeding. Okay, that is a form of breastfeeding. You are getting your milk into your baby, right? And that's important. We would like for you to be able to get the baby to the breast and make sure that your milk gets into the baby's tummy. But in a lot of cases, pumping will be something that's required. Okay, it shouldn't, in most cases, be the only form of getting the milk out of your breast and into the baby, but a lot of times we will have to do some pumping. Okay, not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. Okay, and when I say pumping, I mean expression. So whether it's with a manual pump, electric pump, or hand expression. Okay, so for dads, how are we supporting them, and why do we need to support them? Because it's their baby. Okay, dads have feelings about their babies all along the journey, so we need to honor that. We need to acknowledge it. We need to not dismiss it or disregard them. Okay, we need to honor their presence, because without them, would a baby be here? And of course, I just want to make it very clear that it's just a common thing with me that whenever I talk about dads, I'm talking about present dads. Okay, healthy dads, right? I'm not talking about anybody dangerous, pathological, or anything like that. Okay, so for dads, the first thing that we have to do is understand that men are protectors, they're fixers, and so their first thing is that they're going to try to fix the situation, and they're going to do what they need to do to protect. Now, if they're coming ill-equipped, then that causes us to have a problem, because if if they don't have all the information, then they make poor decisions. And it's just like with anybody. If you don't have all the information, you're going to make an ill-informed decision, right? So we need to make sure that dad understands how the lactation process works when we're dealing with preemie. And so just like I said, breastfeeding, it's still breastfeeding when you're pumping, right? So this information needs to be shared with dad, right? So how can dad help just with pumping, right? He can advocate for you to get a pump. He can go pick up the pump. He can wash the pump pieces. He can, be on the schedule right along with mom when it comes to pumping. Good morning. So, if we know that we're pumping every 2, 3, 4 hours, dad can put himself on that same schedule. So then that means that he's present. Okay, well, you know what? We can't do this at this time because we're pumping. So can we come maybe like 45 minutes later? Can we come an hour later? He can advocate that when we're going somewhere, is there going to be somewhere for us to be able to pump? My partner is pumping and I need to make sure that she has access. If we're using an electric pump, we need access to electricity. If she's hand expressing and she doesn't feel comfortable doing it out in the open, is there somewhere that she can go with a little privacy, right? He can make sure that we have what we need. Make sure that he knows how to handle the breast milk, right? And then also understand that he needs to understand the importance of breastfeeding at this time. So what I shared with you guys yesterday. Oh, wow. Well, that's great. That's great. If you're at home and, you're not working, then you should be good. You know what? Right now, I am talking about benefits to dads. I can, you know what? Let me do that tomorrow. But I want to get through this for dads today. Okay. And you're giving me a good idea. Just right off the top of my head, really quick, is make sure that you're consistent with pumping. If you're not working, and if you're at home, what I would say is put yourself on a very light schedule. Maybe pump once a day, right? If the bulk of your feedings are at the breast, then pumping once a day and putting that milk in the freezer will give you a slow growing stored supply. And those are always good, okay? So just quickly to do the numbers, if you're pumping once a day, the 7 days, right? There's 7 days in a week, so that's 7 bags of milk. If you do it every day for a month, that's anywhere from, depending on the month, 28 to 31 bags, right? So it builds up. Now, if you know that you have something to do, then you can try to have an additional pumping session before. But what I like to have moms do is the one pumping a day is for your stored stash. If you use one of those bags, right, if baby has to take a bottle, then in that same 24 hours, you're going to have to pump one more time. So you're going to pump for each bottle that you give, right? So say you go to lunch, right, and while you're gone, baby takes 2 bottles. So you're going to pump once in the morning. That's every day. And then within that 24 hours, you got to pump another 2 times because baby took 2 bottles. Okay. That way you have your continuing stash and you're going to keep it and it's going to continue to grow. All right. When your schedule changes, then you may need to increase it to maybe another 1 or 2 times. Okay. For a total of 2 to 3 times a day. All right. So, and this tip, what I just gave, is really good for dads, but that's for pumping overall. For dads of a preemie, understanding the importance of why mom needs to pump consistently, right? Because again, if dads don't understand how milk production works, then he may not get his full buy-in, right? And so he needs to understand have the full understanding. So in reality, I try to come on between 6:30 and 7. Today I was a bit late just because it was raining on my side of town. And so I try not to broadcast while it's raining. So I usually start sometime between 6:30 and 7. All right. Since the time has changed, it's probably gonna be closer to 7. So he needs to understand. So show him the video from yesterday. In that video, I need to get it up. Have him understand that the more you use your breast, the more milk you'll make. And so when you're pumping for a preemie, you have to be consistent with your pumping schedule. So, and yesterday what I said is that I want you guys to try to pump for every time that the baby feeds. So if the baby is on an every 4-hour feeding schedule, then make sure that mom is pumping every 4 hours. Goes back to what I just said, okay? When the baby is born and we're having issues and the baby has to go to the NICU, make sure that dad understands that his presence is very important, okay? Again, because he doesn't understand, or because men want to be protectors and they need to fix things, right? Explain to him, and one of the things that I tell my families is, if there's any reason that the family is separated, the baby, mom and baby are separated, what we want to try to do is make sure somebody stays with mom and then dad goes with the baby. One of the reasons is because for skin to skin purposes, first it's mom and then it's dad and then it's the extended family. So if we have a full support or traditional support, right? Dad, right? Mom and dad, right? And then his mom or her mom is there. One of them can stay with mom, right? Dad goes with the baby. So then he can begin his skin to skin. Yes. Oh, great. He can begin his skin to skin. Now, depending on the condition of the baby and where the baby is, right? He may not be able to do his skin to skin, but he can do some other touching. He can be there. He can begin to talk to the baby. Depending on how small the baby is, if he can't physically hold the baby, what he can do is then put his hand on the baby, right? And there's pulses in the hand and all kind of things, and he can start that type of skin to skin, right? And that connection can start to help the baby. And then also that gives dad something to do. And what do we say about dads? These honeydews. If we give them their honeydews, then it kind of brings them down and calms them down. And then he begins, one, to get his direct bonding in, but then he's not so stressed out because now he's become part of the team and he can do something. So he's actually fixing something. He's becoming part of the solution to this problem, right? Okay. And then he can come back and check on mom, and he can be the one, right? If we can get mom starting to express her milk, and then he goes and gets the milk and then brings it back to the baby, you see, we're giving him an active role in this, and that's what we really need. So there's a lot more that goes into this. This might have to be a blog post. So, but share this with the dads, share this with the moms, share this with the elders and the support team. Okay. All right. So I will remember tomorrow to come up with some more breastfeeding tips and tricks. All right. For pumping. All right. You guys have an awesome day. I'm about to go in to work because it's time. I will talk to you guys later.